Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on July 10th, 2021 at approximately 3:44 p.m. PST. Well, things are finally going to culminate here. Basically, as I said, I've got two major goals in mind. Okay, yeah, I'm looking for something. One of the critical keys that has made all of this possible, aside from a stubborn disposition, is this thing that I keep talking about called a list. Because of that, because of that list, I'm able to get things dealt with and out of the way. And today, as soon as I'm done doing this recording, well, let's work on the two major tasks. Like I said, these are tools that I personally use. Okay, and they're the same tools that can help you as an individual alter the energy in your life and make it work in a way that leaves you with a life you're content with. Regardless of how you got to where you are, right now, everybody on this planet, okay, is in literally the same boat. Now, I returned with one message for people. Okay, as a spiritual guide, I've returned to tell you one thing. Okay, one critical thing. There's a whole pile of little things. But that one thing is you're all in exactly the same place. Every single one of you, regardless of how you got to there. Okay, however you are, wherever your life is standing, you're all in exactly the same place. Okay, you're all right here, right now. And this point in time, right this moment, is the only time in all of existence that you can ever accomplish anything. Now, where it comes to successfully accomplishing anything, you are the only person that is able to do it. You can get guidance from everybody out there. But where it comes to true guidance, make certain that the people you're talking to, they're giving you the guidance that you're striving to emulate. Make certain they are following the guidelines they're laying out for you. Now, I've got two big goals I'm working on. I've got a number of little ones, but the two biggest ones I'm working on right about now, well, in all fairness, I guess I've got three. One is the video that I'm doing right here, right now. My goal, okay, and the message that I have returned to pass on is to get our goal is to get it to everybody, whether you've got a video, whether you've got a computer, a cell phone, or it's simply word of mouth, and you're watching on some form of video conveyance. The message I'm bringing forth has to be spread to every entity in existence. So if you know somebody that doesn't have a video, okay, pass the message on to them. And that message is simple. Working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Okay, I only talk about three laws. Okay, those three laws are: be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Energy out, energy in. Now, the reality of that is, and this is going to throw a whole pile of you for a loop. Okay, but when we talk about those laws, okay, I've looked into a lot of different religions, a lot of different spiritual pathways and group pathways. I have not found a single one that has a guideline at all that does not fit into those three guidelines, okay, into those three laws. I've looked at Christianity, the Sikh, the Muslims, Sikhs, the Cree, the Church of Satan, Wiccan, the witches and the witches' covens. Okay, I've looked into Jehovah's Witness. I've looked into the Mormons. I've looked into AA, as in Alcoholics Anonymous, NA, Narcotics Anonymous. I've looked into support groups dealing with PTSD. Okay, independent support groups working with diabetes and blindness. every one of these that I've looked into personally have the same guidelines. Okay, all of their guidelines will fit into those three. Now, this is just a bit of a sidetrack, but because of the fact that I was raised in a Christian home, okay, my reference points happen to be in Christianity. But with that in mind, if you're a Christian, take a look at the beginning of the book of Exodus, and it will tell you that the first tablets that were brought down from Mount Sinai, okay, were never actually seen, even by Aaron, okay, by Moses' brother. They were never even seen by Aaron. Okay, so the only person that ever saw them was Moses himself, because they were shattered, and then Moses went up and got another set. Now, what most people do not know, and there is no way I can prove this, but that first tablet did not have 10 commandments on it. It only had 3. Okay, now that said, okay, when you take a look at the guidelines you're following, okay, absolutely compare them. Do the work yourself. Don't take my word for it. Look into the guidelines that you're living by, and see if they follow the same, if they fit into those 3. If you find one that doesn't, absolutely, please drop me a line at one of the contact points below, okay, and let me know what it is, because I would love to know. I've been looking for one that defies that rule. As I was told by a very wise individual one day, when you've got this much circumstantial evidence, behave as though that's the reality behind it, but keep your eye open for that one piece of information that derails the whole 9 yards. Thus far, I have not found that piece of information. So I am asking for your help. If you have a reference that does not fit into those 3, absolutely drop me a line below. I would love to know it. If you've got questions in any field, personal, impersonal, in business, in UFO and alien technology, I've dealt with all of them for 48 years now. Okay, in all fairness, I've dealt with them for a little longer. I've been dealing with them for life. But the reality is, it became public knowledge when I was 10. So the one goal that I'm talking about is this goal of getting this message out to everybody in the world, and for that matter, everybody around it. Okay, the idea is for everybody to figure out how to modify the energy, how to redirect the energy in your life, so you can take all of the negative things, all the things you're not content with, and redirect the energy so what you're getting is a life that you're content with. Now, the neat little part about it is this. When you modify the things you're not content with, okay, when you turn around and alter those to things you are content with, all you've got left with is a world that you're content with. This will affect the people around you. If you're in a good mood, and I'm sure you're aware of this already, if you're in a good mood, then the people you're dealing with are also going to be treated in a much more effective way. Net result, they will have a better day. They go home, they'll have a better interaction with the people around them, and the ripple continues out. Okay, that's why this is not a question of this is just a one-person job. Okay, it is time to realize that all people working together can shift the energy in this world to be a better life for virtually everybody. Now, there's always going to be exceptions. Okay, there are always these little anomalies and quirks and what have you. More often than not, yeah, I know my coffee cup is up front because it's 95 degrees right now. Not bad, but we're in the middle of a desert in Canada. And yeah, it gets a little warm up here. So, frozen water. Makes sense. Don't have an air conditioner, so we work with that. Now, that message is one of the biggest goals that I've got. It started out here on March 21st, 2021. working on how I was working with my world, with the energy in my world, to show you that it is possible to take your world and alter it into a more effective fashion. I've talked about Feng Shui, and if you look back through some of my videos, okay, I did one video dedicated very strongly towards it. And if you read the descriptions in the bottom of the videos, it's back probably 2 weeks now. Okay, there's one that actually dictates that. And I should actually deal with one, in all fairness, that is strictly dealing with Feng Shui. Because Feng Shui is a great process that has been documented really nicely in Eastern society, that lays out how you can control the energy and you can guide the energy in your world. The only flaw with it is it's built in Eastern society, and over there it works like a charm because the entire culture is built that way. In Western society, it is not built that way, but the principle still holds. Okay, and this is why I say you take your work area and you get it straightened out so that it feels right, and then you can expand out from there. Okay, this is just one of the little tools. Now, the nice little part there is that is probably the furthest reaching goal I've got. Okay, at this point. Now, I'm going to localize that a little. Like I said, I've got 3. The second one is this funny little book here. Okay, put that over there. This funny little book. Okay, that's The Birth of the Wolf Pack. It was a novel that I started writing the storyline for back in grade 10. Okay, it is finally in print, and I'm happy to say today I will be putting, as soon as I get done this, I'll be posting a link where it can now be picked up online on Amazon, on Barnes & Noble, and at Authorhouse.com. Not to mention through me directly. Okay, now this is only one step. Okay, because what I do is I've got a lot of writing that I do in my, what I call spare time. Bear in mind, I've got a full-time job, right, that I've been working at the same company for 20 years. Okay, working as a professional psychic. Okay, for 20 years. So contacting me is actually not that hard. Okay, that is my primary income. The writing I'm doing on the side, okay, is in addition to that. But to be fair, I'm in the middle of writing 30, actually it turns out I did the count the other day. I'm actually writing 32 different books. Okay. Now, the one that I just showed you is part of a series of 12. Okay, it's roughly speaking, given 400 pages per book, it'll be about 4,800 pages in length. Okay, designed as 4 trilogies, all interlinked, all set up back to back. Now, Birth of the Wolf Pack is the first book in the 4th trilogy. Long story as to how that came about, and I will be doing a specific video to that effect down the road. Okay, depends on when I get the time for it, but I got a lot to do. But I will be posting some information today. Okay, and I'm telling you this because as soon as I get done, it's actually next on my list. Actually, in all fairness, it was set up for, I wrote it down before I wrote down the journey today. So, that particular goal is to get it written. I've already got the cover work done for the sequel and for the final, for the 3rd book. 3rd book isn't written yet. I'm in the middle of it. Well, at the beginning of it. But that being said, that is my second major goal. Now, that one is a personal goal that, yes, I desire it to reach as many people as possible. What it will do in the long run, I don't know. But I will tell you this much. Because of the way it's written, okay, I've written it as a science fiction, science fantasy book. So that may appeal to some of you, but here's what I hid inside it. What I'm hiding inside the series. Not only am I including the information on the karmic laws, but I'm including information on soulmates, on twin flames, on soul families, on reincarnation, on many of the ancient races, okay, races that you may think are mythology, okay, many of the alien races, these are all things that are included, okay, and of course, I am discussing some of the principles of magic, the pitfalls, the way it can work, okay, the way it can be used. Now, this is why it falls under science fiction, science fantasy, is you get to decide whether it's real or whether it's possible. Now, way back in the 1960s, Gene Roddenberry came up with some brilliant things, not the least of which was the communicator, the thing that we all take for granted. Okay, yeah, we all take it for granted, this is just here. But back in the 60s, this was science fiction. That's a cell phone in case you don't recognize it from the back. I don't have a flip phone on me anymore. Well, I do, but it's hiding in one of my storage units. Okay, but what I've done is taken all of that. I took the concept of creationism and evolution. I tied a whole bunch of things all together. Okay, but more on that later. The big thing at this point is I've started working with Authorhouse, and now I've already talked to them and told them once this book started, once this first one starts making money, right, and starts paying me something, then I'm going to start turning the other books over to them. In the meantime, you'll find at the bottom of this video, you'll find a list of different publications that are already in print that are in my possession. And again, you can order them straight through me. Okay, now that's another goal of mine. Okay, the third one, yeah, I guess I've got four, don't I? The third one is to take all of this mess, and you see that I've started removing stuff over here. Okay, is to take all of that and get rid of the stuff I don't require. I just found out yesterday that a shelf I've been hanging on to, I will now be able to dispose of. Okay, it's not that good. It's not that good of a shelf, but it's in the way, it's taking up room, and I don't have any functional use for it, so it's going. And all of the junk that I've got, the stuff that I've got that's cluttering my house, blocking the energy, the thought processes that are holding things up for me, okay, are being eradicated. They're being altered. And this is one of the reasons why I write things down, is to make sure that I can get rid of them. Okay. And yeah, I've got that shelf all covered up again. And besides that, my left arm isn't working as well as I'd like. So we go back to the right one for the moment. Okay, now the nice part about it is I've actually got most of my list already done today. Okay, I've only got on my list right now, I've literally got written down to get the advertising for the Birth of the Wolfpack up, finish the journey, post the journey, and then get rid of the shelf. Now, that's the third big project I've got that I'm aiming at finishing before the end of this year. The sequel to Birth of the Wolfpack, I'm looking at having out by the end of this year as well. Okay, now that's the third big goal that I've got in mind. The fourth one is frankly to organize things so that I can actually connect properly with my partner and literally get started on, assuming that everything works out right, and this is still up in the air. Okay, but my intention is very simple. Okay, and I don't say things very often without thinking them through, and trust me on this one. Or don't. Okay, the one person this matters to a lot will be looking at this video. And that is, my intention at this point is still, and I have no reason to believe my intention is going to alter at all. Okay, but my intention is very simple. I already know who she is. She already knows who she is. My intention is down the road, as soon as we can arrange it, as soon as she's got everything organized for her, and I've got everything organized for me, I fully intend on getting married to her. Which, yeah, and why am I telling you this? Well, in all fairness, you're just an audience for that particular message. That particular message is actually intended directly for her. Okay, and I'll find out whether or not that worked out well. But, like I mentioned a long time ago, a lot of the time when I'm doing these videos, because I'm looking at me, quite often I'm talking to me. Okay, the message is for you, because every one of these tools, okay, so technically I'm talking to all of us, but the tools that I offer are ones that I personally use. And here's the thing about telling you out loud, about saying something out loud. Okay, many belief structures seem to think that thinking about doing something is as bad as doing it. Well, if that were the case, if that were truly the case, then life would not exist on this planet. Because understand, having an imagination of the caliber that I've got, and of the caliber that many of you out there have, there are some phenomenal science fiction, science fantasy writers that have literally written about the ending of the planet. Okay, where Earth is nothing but a burned out husk. Now, if thinking about doing something is as bad as doing it, then this world would have come to an end a long time ago. Okay, but here's the reality behind saying something. When you think about it, it brings that energy into focus. But the moment you say something and you give it physical vocal term, it draws the energy out of the spiritual world into the material world, where it makes it manifest. Okay, makes it possible to manifest. You're still going to have to do the work. This is why I've mentioned the idea, like you can see this, I'm not going to go over and get it right now, but you can see the sign, you can't read it right now, there's wood right there. Okay, that sign says, I am worth it. Okay, and the reason I've got that up there is because it is the four most powerful words that I've come across in this physical lifetime to help people deal with self-esteem, self-worth, self-motivation. Okay, it's a great four-word statement. Okay, now, well, whether it's okay or not, I don't know. Anyway, this is a live recording, which means at the end of the video, I don't go back and edit anything. I check and make sure I got the date right, and then I post it as is. Part of that is, the majority of that is because I don't feel like editing anything. I am what I am. If you run into me in person and you're talking to me, the odds are I talk exactly the same way, but my hands may not move as much. Okay, but this way you get the hiccups, the stumbles, the odd words that come out, which I remember doing one day. I was really annoyed with the whole setup, and I made the mistake of swearing during my video. So I redid the entire video. Needless to say, by the time I went and did it the second time, I calmed down a little. But, like I said, these are goals that I personally have for me. Okay. And when you utter something out loud, the vibratory rate of your vocal cords draws the energy out of the spiritual world into the material one, where it can now be recognized and made manifest. The job is still yours. You still have to put the effort into altering it. You can talk about building a house. If you don't pick up a hammer, you're not building the house. Well, that's not true. If you're building a house of cards, you can do it without a hammer. Recommended without a hammer. Try it with a hammer and see how fun that is. No, don't. Bizarre thing. I've heard all kinds of people suggest you do things. Right? And I look at them now, even in the offhanded ones, when I talk about doing something like with building a house of cards, and I tell you, try and build that with a hammer. No, don't. If somebody goes out and tries to build a house of cards with a hammer, the only person that's going to be really hurt, or not hurt, but disappointed, is I'm pretty certain, unless we're dealing with a master carpenter, you're not building a house of cards with a hammer. Okay, you'll bend a lot of cards, but that's pretty much where that'll end. Okay, but I hear people suggesting things on the internet about things you should try. And I'm telling you, some of these are absolutely suicidal. That's why I don't even joke about them. It's kind of like joking about certain things in certain situations. Like, it's one thing, like when I'm talking about my books, okay, Yes, some of my books have explosive stuff in them, but you never discuss the explosive stuff sitting in an airport. Okay, this is just a bad idea. Okay, because it's going to result in problems. You never discuss spy work when you're in a foreign country. Like if you're an author and you're out researching the area that you're trying to write about, you never talk to people about being a spy in another country. This is just absolutely asking for problems. Okay. Now it's one thing to talk about casting fireballs, as in utilizing magic in a secured area. Because let's face it, in all my years of gaming, I have never even heard reference to somebody being able to mutter a few words and cast a 20 and just point someplace and have a long stream of kind of like a tracer mark get to a certain point and detonate into a 20-foot fireball. It just doesn't happen in today's world. Okay, now the ironic part of it is, I do know personally of some races that can pull that off, but they aren't human, and they aren't on the surface. Yes, I've got a weird life. Okay, but my goal is real simple. Okay, those 4 goals are the backbone of what I'm altering in my life. You know, I've got this other neat little goal to gain my own health in order. Now, I have complications on that, but I'm a firm believer that anything your body can create, your body can correct. I'm in the process of putting that to the test because I've got some things that I have to deal with. Okay. And yes. See, coffee is the only thing I drink a lot of. Unfortunately, the whole idea of what I used to drink a lot of, which was, for me, it happened to be rye neat. And I used to drink a staggering amount of it. Between rye neat and rye and ginger, that was what I spent a lot of time drinking. I killed a 26er a night off of it. Am I proud of it? Not exactly, but I am very proud of what I did because of it. Because I got into that world to draw an entire, like draw a total stranger, somebody I'd never met in my life. She was in a very bad way, heavy into the drugs, heavy into the alcohol. I didn't touch any of it. But my parents taught me very clearly that you cannot assess somebody's life if you've never walked a mile in their shoes. Well, I took that literally. I do that a lot. And unfortunately, that leads to some really dangerous ideas. What it led me to was walking into a world of drugs and alcohol that it did accomplish what I set out to. I got to understand the young lady's life. I got to understand what got her there and where she was. And I did end up guiding her out, so she walked out of the bar. Okay, when I first met her, and I'm not going to tell you what her name was, and if she ever comes across this video, I'm hoping that she will get in touch with me. Okay, because when I met her, she had absolutely nothing. Okay, but the nice part about it was when we got finished, the day she walked out of the alcohol and out of the drugs, she was half owner of a house and engaged to be married. The day she walked out, I walked out of both the drugs and the alcohol. Now, alcohol, I will still drink 1 or 2 drinks a year. Okay. Drugs, I haven't touched in 30 years. Okay, so did walking into that world, did it help? The answer is yes. It accomplished exactly what I set out to accomplish, and I got back out of it. Now, on that note, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to ring that little alert bell to let you know when the next video comes up. Okay, I will be back tomorrow. I got a bunch of things to do today, so until tomorrow, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.